Hello, and good morning. It is Sunday, the 26th, 2026. It is approximately 10 a.m. in the morning, Central Standard Time, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Alex reporting for duty. So, this weekend has been good. I was productive on my computer for my client Friday and Saturday. I probably did about 14, I don't know, from 7 in the morning until 10 or 11 at night, both days, with, breaks in between to go to the gym and whatnot, to little tasks outside. But I would try and get a bigger task that I wanted done and set the AI loose while I went and did something, so I wasn't totally not doing something. Didn't work too well. Yesterday did, actually. It did it okay because it was a large, what's called a refactoring job. And I understood the tasks that needed to be done. So I literally gave it like bullet point instructions on what to do and let it kind of figure it out why, not so much the how. Anyway, so that's good. I'm going to do a little bit more work today to make up for this week because I want to take advantage of the weather on Tuesday and Wednesday. But this all got me thinking, so last night in bed or before bed, I was like, what am I going to do? Let's say this contract goes for another 12 to 15 months, and then they want to pivot to a retainer fee, which in a way makes more sense for me because I'm going to bill them more per hourly rate. If they're not keeping me employed full time, then I need more money per hour. So hopefully they agree to that. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'll have to be finding employment with other people. So it's got me really questioning, like, I'm turning this into a business, whether I like it or not. If I don't want to go back to a full-time office job where I'm stuck in a seat for 8 hours a day, 30 hours, 40 hours a week, I've got to figure out how to reach out to people and start getting my name out there. And here's the truth between you and me and the fence post. My life's trajectory has not been one that would basically align with what I'm trying to do. It certainly hasn't been a path in life that's built confidence. I obviously struggle with confidence. I know I'm competent. I've proven that to myself dozens of times building software, but confidence is tricky, man. And, I've always been good at detecting men who were genuinely confident, versus those who weren't, because I could see the reactions in men that weren't confident. The fake confidence, the machismo, the macho, almost like an Andrew Tate kind of, and then there's men who are confident, genuinely kind of like just stoic and calm and quiet and soft-spoken. They know their path in life, and that's what I've been desperately working towards for the last year. I obviously got a lot of work to do because I second-guess myself constantly, and like I said, my trajectory in life thus far has been checkered, to say it politely. I've made a lot of mistakes, and the world has told me that I was wrong or stupid. And rightfully so. I'm not disputing that shouldn't have happened, but bad decisions make bad future prospects, and that's what I'm struggling with right now, right? And one of the things I struggle with, and I have since I've entered the workforce, has been kind of like an identity imposter syndrome. And part of it is just the failures in life. I dropped out of high school in grade 10 officially and repeated from 1995 until 2002. I took several attempts at trying to get into high school and graduate, and all I did was, hang out with people and smoke pot in the smoking doors and, get drunk at lunch and act like an idiot. But I secretly wanted to graduate because I understood my future opportunities were limited as a high school dropout. I knew guys that were friends of mine that dropped out, and I'm sure some of them were eventually ended up in prison or dead. I knew I didn't want to go down that path, but I didn't have it in me to finish school. And then in my 20s, I struggled in the workforce. I got fired constantly. I'd work at a place for 3 or 4 months and get tired of it and, tell my boss to fuck off or come in late or whatever. And I mean, these things are the outcome is expected. There's non-negotiables there. Like, you don't have that power when you're an employee, and I hated that. And I made bad financial moves in my early 20s and ended up with what is it called, debt collections coming after me and being basically one step short of bankruptcy. But there was nothing to bankrupt because I had nothing. I hadn't a pot to piss in, let alone something to lose. So what ended up happening is I had nothing, and I ended up getting into several $1,000s of debt with Hydro and MTS, our local phone provider. And yeah, and I ended up getting evicted from my apartment and didn't pay them rent, and told the collections to pound salt and probably fuck off. And I was stuck financially for about 8 years. I couldn't get a credit card or a car loan or anything after that, despite the jobs that I had. I managed to find jobs as contract software developer, moonlighting mostly in the evenings. Making $20 an hour at the time was great because during my day jobs were working at gas stations or cleaning kitchens, menial grunt work that no one wants to do. And I was maybe making $5-6 an hour at most. So to have that quadrupled in the evening was like, well, that's amazing. But I struggled with the complexity of early software because I was just starting to reach the point of being a commercially available developer. And I bailed on a couple of clients, and by couple I mean probably like 10 over 10 years, because it was about once a year I'd find a contract. It would last for about 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year, maybe a little more than a year in some cases. And I'd get frustrated with the complexity of the code that I'd built, and or working in the existing code. I just got tired of it and started not working and get fired. And I'd either quit and bailed on people or got fired. And more times than not, probably not amicably. I left on terms where it was clear my nervous system wasn't regulated. And I burnt bridges because of that. And I've done that dozens of times over the last almost 30 years since I started doing this in 2000-ish. And those failures stick with you, at least they do with me. And I mentioned I dropped out of high school, and one of my greatest desires in life was to be a pilot. And I was in Air Cadets, and they rejected me for a flying scholarship twice, and that stuck with me. And I know it did because I still bring this up fucking almost 30 years, 40 years later. Not quite 40, 35 years later. I don't know, how old was I? About 15, 16. 15, 16, and maybe it was 16, 17, and 18 probably are the years that I ran for scholarship, because you're done by your 18th year. By the time you turn 19, you're finished with Air Cadets. So I don't know, might have to do the math, but I ran for my scholarship twice for sure, because the first year I was thinking I'd go for gliders and then the powers, and I didn't get either. They both times rejected me. And that was just one more notch in my rejection belt where I, had to acknowledge that I failed. And you can only fail so many times before you start to feel it. And I feel it, and I still do. And I still struggle with imposter syndrome. So long story short, I sit in rooms today with engineers that have bachelor's degrees and masters, and some of them have PhDs. And I'm trying to pretend like I fit in and I belong there. And all the while, it's like, not only do I didn't not graduate college, I didn't even graduate high school. And that conversation's come up at water coolers in the past. And that's part of the reason I hate working in an office, because I'm like, I've worked with developers that probably picked up on the idea that I didn't graduate or didn't even go to school. And they would use it against me in coffee conversations around bosses to kind of give themselves leverage. And I found that to be kind of a snaky in the grass kind of way to, anyway, I didn't like those people. If I was ever going to fight someone, holy moly. But, survival of the fittest, man. You do what it takes to get ahead in life, and I'm not very good at it. What I'm good at is causing chaos and reckless behavior, apparently. If it was me and that guy in a bar fight, I'm not even that tough, but I put my money on me. Anyway, where I'm going with this. So I've been thinking, like, how do I start building my network and putting my name out there? And I want to connect with one of my old employers and see if I can do something with them. So last night I was just kind of journaling, and then I fed it to AI and I said, look, break this into 3 parts, reorder the statements so they're chronologically ordered, and flow the story. So it did. It took about an hour's worth of brain dumping, gave me 3-part story of my life's journey, basically from early ages of my early systems thinking, cognition, recognition in myself, not really understanding or having the words for it. But by the age of 10, I began to understand systems. And by the time I was 14, I was writing software systems. And by the time I was 20, I was professionally employed as a software developer, moonlighting. It wasn't until the late 2000s, sometime around 2008 or 9, is when I landed my first full-time job with benefits and PTO and everything else. And that's the previous employer that I'd like to go back to because, man, I owe them a lot. I don't know about everything, but I owe them a lot because they took a chance on me, and it's because of them I am where I am today. And that's one of the only places I've ever left, and it was amicable. And I'm still interested in their success because my heart feels so heavily invested in that company. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I brain dumped for an hour, had AI generate 3-part series of my journey to becoming a developer, my early interest in systems and such, and my struggles with ADHD and substance abuse. And I've put myself through a ringer in multiple ways over 30 years of, more than that, 40 years of being me, dysregulated and problematic, problem child, and struggling in school. And I want to put this as a 3-part series articles on my professional LinkedIn page, my personal LinkedIn page, but it's professional. I only have mostly people I've worked with and friends of mine that are professionals. And I'm nervous too because I disclose all of these details about, people that I've worked with are going to read this, and maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll be like, what the hell? He dropped out of high school. He struggled with substances. He was a cokehead. Holy smokes. Because these are things I don't exactly talk about with people I work with, people that I know personally. I'll disclose that, of course, but I try and keep personal and professional separate. But my nervous system is telling me, Alex, if I'm going to get out there and put my name out there, I have to be forward and disclosed and honest, so that there's no secret backdoors that someone can use against me, that there's no competition that can bring to the attention of someone I'm trying to win over that I'm a high school dropout, or that I've had, criminal behavior, for lack of a better word, that's covering more than just substance abuse. It's actions and activities that I've been involved with that were not major. I mean, I'm not a felon, but I don't know if I have a criminal record, to be honest. I don't think I do, because I think I can cross the border, but I might be in a database somewhere for sure, a couple times for minor violations and infractions, a DUI, for instance, and disorderly conduct and public disturbance or something like that. And I don't know, maybe when I was a lot of stupid shit. I don't know. I mean, if it happens before you're 18, you're fine. But yeah, disorderly conduct and public disturbance and DUI, certainly things that happened in adulthood. So I think I was never charged, but I don't know what stays on your record. I've paid a hell of a lot in fines, and had to plead with a magistrate or whatever the hell they're called, once or twice to kind of get out of trouble, and they understood that I was just not intrinsically bad at heart, but struggling, and I wish everybody could see it that way. I guess is why I'm sharing it with LinkedIn, and that's just to kick the door open because I want to start sharing my, as a personal developer, my experiences of AI and development and how things are changing rapidly. And I want to share that on LinkedIn because it's the best platform to find people that are professionally like-minded. And in the flip side, I want to promote my simplicity consultant services on the business page of my LinkedIn and maybe my Facebook. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm brain dumping because I don't know if this is a good idea or not. My dad is telling me I'm disclosing too much info for no reason, and my nervous system is telling me do it because if someone brings that up and I'm not prepared for it, it's going to collapse me and I'll spiral. So at least this way I'm putting everything on the table. I'm being honest and upfront, and there's nothing can be used against me or rugs pulled out from underneath me when I start gaining a little bit of momentum, hopefully. Anyway, I don't know if it's a good idea or not. If you watch this and you have any ideas or opinions, man, share it with me. Send me a private message even if you have to, because, and this is the thing, I'm also working towards, like, I need to start making decisions with conviction and confidence, you know? Like, I don't need your input. I just need to act. And whether it's right or wrong, time will tell. And here I am second guessing myself on a fucking YouTube video. But anyway, happy Sunday. Take care of yourselves. As always, if you're watching, I see you, I feel you, appreciate your eyeballs and attention. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll chat soon. Bye.